welcome back to the Automation and Self-Service podcast. My name is Sandra, and I am the editor of kioskmarketplace.com and vendingtimes.com. And I'm here with Grant Majors, CEO of American Rounds, better known as the ammo vending machines. They've gotten a lot of publicity, so thank you so much for joining us today.
Sandra, thanks for having me.
I am really interested. So, of course, this is a really interesting, maybe one of the most viral stories that I've covered for Vending Times so far. And I'm super curious to know how the idea came about for the ammo vending machines.
Sure. So my partner and I were looking at, we don't like to use the term vending machines anymore. We call them automated retail machines, and we were looking at that particular space for another product market that we were doing consulting work for. And we had some strategic partners in the grocery store space, and we had reached out to them about the use of this type of technology for those. And they kind of approached us. The grocery stores came back and said, "Hey, we love the idea, but could you guys provide us ammo?" That's what our customers are really wanting. And we thought about it and did our homework and said, "Yeah, absolutely, we can."
So the grocery stores were like, "Hey, we need ammo." And you were like, "Yeah, let's do it." So your background is in the automated retail, not necessarily the ammunition side of things.
Yeah, we were actually, we were in the nutraceutical space actually, and working with a group out of New York, doing consulting work for them. And that's what we were looking at the machines for, was for nutraceutical products, when the stores approached us about ammunition. So we had been in that space for 5-10 years at that point, and then we made the shift over to ammunition.
Awesome. So you started off with the automated retail, working with these retailers, and the retailers were like, "We actually have this need for ammunition." I imagine it's kind of like people going to any other department store like Walmart or any other store that has ammunition sold behind a counter. People might just want to get it at a different kind of store.
Well, so a lot of the confusion, I think, and misunderstanding about, what we're doing is from a misunderstanding about how ammunition is sold currently in the marketplace. So currently in the marketplace, ammunition is sold big box retailers, rarely even behind a counter. It just sits on a shelf like any other product. So because of that, since COVID, since the lockdowns, there's been an uptick to about 30 to 35% in theft with retailers and ammunition. Then you have the other means, which is online. With online, there's very little regulatory ability. So any 15-year-old with a driver's license can buy ammunition. Or any 15-year-old with their dad's credit card, they have their parents' credit card, they can buy ammunition. So when you look at kind of how ammunition is sold, it's rarely ever, even though there are age requirements that vary state by state, it's rarely ever carded. I can speak for 33 years of purchasing ammo. I've never had an ID checked once at any store, ever. It's never, or it's very ease of access. Simply just, from our phones here, we can, order ammo. Anybody can if they have access to their credit card. So, what we've done is we've created a system that puts it in a secure space and verifies identification at every transaction. We're the only retailer in the ammunition space that can say that that's 100% with every transaction.
That's incredible. And how did the automated retail can you remind me what we're saying as opposed to vending machines? What's the terminology you prefer? Automated retail.
Automated retail machines.
Oh, well, there we go. So can you tell me a little bit more about how the machines themselves confirm or verify age?
Sure. So when you go up to a machine, it's simply just it's a 42-inch touchscreen. You can select your product. You go to a shopping cart, checkout. When you go to checkout, right, you can insert your payment. But before you can complete the transaction, you have to insert your ID, your driver's license. It's going to scan the driver's license. It's going to verify that it's a legitimate ID. It's not a fake one. It's not an expired ID. It's going to verify that you're at least 21, because you have to be 21 to use our machines. Then it's going to do a facial recognition scan, pair it to the ID that's in the machine. So you can't use your buddy's ID who's of age or still a parent's. It's going to make sure that you are the person at the transaction. So once all that's verified, then the transaction can be completed. So if any of those verifications fail, then the transaction is canceled.
Interesting. So I am not familiar with purchasing ammunition at like a big box store, but is there an age limit of 21 at most big box stores, or is that unique to American Rounds?
So age requirements vary state to state depending on the product. Typically speaking, you have to be 18 to buy rifle or shotgun ammunition and 21 to buy handgun ammunition. That's pretty much an industry standard depending on your state. So we just set the limit at 21 for all calibers of ammunition.
Okay. And that actually brings me to my next question, which is like what kind of regulatory hurdles have you all come across? I know that you're in quite a few states now, and they probably have varying levels of regulations around ammunition. So have you found that 21 age limit makes it a little bit more streamlined, or how has that been navigating like multiple different regulations? Yeah,
so the way we do it, so federally speaking, right, there's not even a requirement federally to check IDs. That identification check is really based on a state by state requirement and those age limits. So we really go above and beyond all the requirements that the states are in, right? So we actually go above any of the standards, so we're compliant with any state, federal, or local laws. Now there are about six states plus Washington, D.C., that require background checks for the purchase of ammunition. We don't do that at the machine currently, and so we're not entering those markets as of yet. I mean, obviously we could enter those markets, and when we do enter those markets, we'll have to provide that ability at the machines.
Interesting. So which states are you in? And if you can let me know, what states do you plan on going into, or just general regions? Where do you find that this need is higher?
Well, we're in Texas. That's where we're based out of, Dallas. We've got a couple locations in Texas, Oklahoma, Alabama, and now Colorado. We're expanding. I have requests for machines all over the country. So we're actually launching a franchise portion of our business. We've had probably 700 requests to franchise just in the last 45 days. So, we're rolling out the franchise model of our business in about 2 months.
That's incredible. Congratulations. So with the franchise model, that would potentially exponentially expand where these vending machines are.
Now, we're particular about where we place the machines. So, for instance, we're not placing machines in liquor stores. Or we're not placing machines in smoke shops, or, we have, our own set of standards in terms of community responsibility and in terms of, our brand that, where we want to be placed. Currently right now, our locations are in grocery stores. Now, a lot of people don't understand that it's not uncommon, particularly in rural towns across the South, and Midwest, Southeast, for grocery stores to sell ammunition. A lot of them do. And they say Walmart's a grocery store, right? Walmart still sells ammunition in 2,500 of their locations, roughly. So, we're looking at, we have requests in hardware stores, grocery stores, convenience stores. We have a lot of requests, but so we're particular about where we put them, and just in terms of there's certain spots we won't.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So who is your target market for these machines? I know that we're talking about putting them in less, I would say maybe more mainstream types of retailers. Who do you think or who have you found to use these machines the most?
Well, right now, most of our machines are in rural markets, rural towns. So a lot of these towns have, they're a lot of hunting communities. Oftentimes they don't have a sporting goods store within, 30, 45-minute drive, that they'd have to go to if they want to go, do something, if they want to go on a hunt that weekend. So we look at, it's right now like our focus in terms of growth, I would, say it would be like the South, Southeast, upper, Midwest, markets are where we have the most demand. So, but we have, and just in terms of a demographic and who's buying from us, it's really, all over, both men and women. We have a ton of female supporters that they carry and for their own self-protection, or they're hunters, and in those communities, and we get a lot of support from them. And but yeah, the hunting community, the 2A community we've had an overwhelming amount of support, in the markets we've gone in.
That's incredible. Yeah, I found with a few folks that I talked to, kind of if you place the vending machine or the automated retail machine in a place that a lot of women shop at, it's oftentimes that you'll see a disproportionate amount of shoppers that will come there and use that machine, maybe more than you would expect, just because it's where they are, which is kind of really great and convenient. So the last point, and we can probably just talk about this all day, is just the publicity. So I know that you all have probably been very, very busy, fielding a lot of questions and interviews. And I know that there's been a little bit of feedback, both positive and negative. So I would just love to know what your experience has been. Did you expect it to kind of go viral like it did, or?
No, I mean, we knew we had something, a tiger by the tail, so to speak. I think we knew that it would be a disruptor at some level, but I didn't know that it was going to, blow up the way it did. I mean, we hit over 2 billion impressions in about 30 days. Interviews in every state across the country, including 11 different countries outside the United States. It's been overwhelming just in terms of the response, and we feel blessed by that. But, the feedback has been 98% positive. And really, the negative feedback that we've gotten, once someone sits down and understands the current market of ammunition and then sees what we're doing, we're really the safest method of selling ammunition, right? So we're the only ones that ID every time, 100%, right? We go above the age requirements. It's locked away in a double-walled steel 2,000-pound machine inside. All the things that we do. When you look at the way ammunition is sold, we're the safest form on the market, but we still maintain, the integrity of the Second Amendment, and those that are hunters and 2A supporters. We still maintain the integrity of what that should look like constitutional. So we feel like we're trying to bridge the gap and just create a better environment for law-abiding gun owners.
Yeah, I agree. I think that whenever I first, you'll see the headline and you're like, oh my gosh, I can buy. I think that the most, maybe the silliest one I saw, and it was probably like yesterday, it came up, you can buy some bullets with your Coke. Like a drink. And I was like, okay, well, then we're kind of simplifying this a little bit. It's a little bit more complicated. It's not as easy to get access to this ammunition as it is to buy a can of soda. So I really appreciate you coming on and talking to us about this. I know personally, my family, they're all hunters, and they're kind of like, when are we going to get it in Kentucky? And my brother's in Maine, and he's like, I would love having one of those. So yeah, it's been really cool talking to you. Is there anything else that you would like to add?
Oh, no, we have other things coming. It's not just going to be ammunition. We're adding other products and accessories to the machines. We're also adding a drop ship ability at the machines. So if you're a hunter and you want to get a gun case, you want to get a new scope or something like that, different accessories, you can drop ship it right to the house from the machine. We're working with membership groups like NRA, USCCA, being able to offer those kind of memberships, or hunting and fishing license access at the machines. So the machines are going a lot further than just the sale of ammunition over time, and and how we're forecasting out our model.
That's incredible. This might be a silly question. Are there any loyalty programs that you're planning on, especially if we're thinking about like partnering with those organizations?
Yeah, we've talked about that internally, and especially for military discounts and law enforcement discounts, and we have programs that work on that. That's right now. Just we're not even quite. I mean, it's not. It's been only about 9 months since we installed our first machine, roughly 8 or 9 months. So we are, prioritizing a lot of things just in terms of what we're going to roll out, when we're going to roll it out. But all of those things, are definitely in our purview that we want to see. Given we want to be supportive of loyalty programs, discounts for our law enforcement or first responders, military, all that. That's
fascinating and important work. So I appreciate you coming on and joining us today. And I think that we'll definitely keep following you. I know that you're going to keep popping up in my headlines every day as I'm researching news on vending machines. So I'll keep track of the progress and see when it's coming to me locally. So
let's go. We'll get some franchisees up there in Kentucky.
Yeah, sounds good.
Absolutely.
Sounds good. Well, thank you for joining us. And I think that is it for today. Thank you for listening in on this episode of Automation and Self-Service. That's all we have.